Welcome to Final Verdict. I'm Bell.
I'm Jamie.
And I'm Adam.
And this week it's Adam's pick.
Ooh, yeah. And we're listening to Danny Brown's Atrocity Exhibition.
It's kind of scary.
It is scary. The album cover's scary.
The beats are
insane.
oppressive.
His voice is also insane.
Yeah.
Why is he shouting?
Okay, some of it, he sounds like Andre 3000. And then some of it, he sounds like he's having a heart attack.
It's incredible. Okay, Danny Brown. Wow, what to say?
Tell me more.
Let's start with this. Atrocity Exhibition is the fourth studio album from Detroit rapper Danny Brown. After rising to prominence with his critically acclaimed second album, Triple X, or 30, and finding modest commercial and festival success with his EDM-drenched album Old, Danny Brown would reach his critical zenith with Atrocity Exhibition. Named after a Joy Division song, which was named after a book, the album presents a grim and psychedelic look into the perils of drug abuse. After years of fans adoring his party persona, Danny wanted to make sure that people were finally getting the message of his music. Drugs are fun, but they'll ruin your life. Danny Brown is probably, I think, one of the most inventive and interesting rappers in the game today. One interesting characteristic about him is that he is relatively old, and that's something he's explored a lot in his music. Considering he has an album called 30, which was named after the fact that he was 30, and he has an album called Old, because he was old. He also has released Quaranta, which came out last year.
From when he was Spanish.
When he was, that's Italian for 40.
From when he was Italian.
Yeah. Danny Bruno. Because he's been in the game for a long time. He actually has like a lot of mixtapes from way back in the day, but he really kind of found his voice in the literal sense with his debut album called The Hybrid, which is where that kind of high-pitched yawp of his emerged. And it's become his calling card. It's like you hear him on a feature and you immediately know, oh, that's Danny.
Because he's yelling at me.
Because he's got this high-pitched voice and these crazy, crazy bars. So I wanted to talk about this album because I think that it embodies so much of what I love about Danny Brown. It's experimental. It's funny. It's dark. It's gritty. The bars are insane on it. The beats are ridiculous. Probably not, I'm not gonna lie, not the best album to get into Danny Brown with. It's probably his least accessible album compared to, say, the more traditional albums in his catalog. But yeah, I'm really excited to show this album to you guys, and I'm really excited to hear what y'all think about it.
Yeah, never listened to Danny Brown before. I do like his vibe, and maybe not the music, but just him himself. Like, having an album called Scarin the Hose is hilarious. And the record that has the Twitter block page and it says Danny Brown blocked you, very funny. I don't know. We'll have to check the record. I think the record is a different order than the streaming.
No, I don't think so.
Because when I went and grabbed the friggin' down the list of songs, it was different from what it was on streaming, and I was like, huh?
Oh
no! This is this pressing is
after Gold Dust. What's the song?
White Lines.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is on streaming.
Okay, well that's good then, because I didn't know it's in that order. Anyways, so yeah, I haven't really listened to him. The shouty vocals took a lot to get used to. I was like, why now? I was like, okay, man, I get it. Especially because he does have some calmer songs where he's not shouting.
That sing in a normal voice, and
I like that a lot.
His voice is pretty good.
Yeah, but I think the shouting matches the crazy beats. I'm like, some of these are so surreal. Some of them are a little scary, and having him shouting at you in it is like, yeah, it makes sense when he's talking about doing so many drugs. He thinks he's going to die, and he's scared he's going to die, but he's gonna snort one more line, and it's like it kind of matches that. What he's talking about.
Yeah, there's a song about, like, what do you do when someone starts shooting bullets at you?
And you want to dance.
You want
to throw it to the ground.
You got to throw your butt on the ground. Yeah. I found it, like, some of his vocals to be sort of off-putting, and some of the beats to be spooky or scary or just very jarring, like a sound collage. I don't know. But the album is sort of hard to listen to, but also somewhat enjoyable, but also hard to listen to. And then there's when I said he sounded like Andre 3000, there's just a straight part of a song where he just cops part of Bombs Over Baghdad, which is cool.
Yeah.
Which is a great song. But his like normal tone, listenable. His scary I'm gonna die on drugs tone, maybe less so.
It's also like all he raps about on this album.
Yeah.
He loves cocaine.
That is the
And weed.
Yeah.
he does like he likes a lot of everything. I'm not gonna lie. He's referred to himself in the past. He used to call himself the Adderall Admiral.
That's a sick,
That's on previous albums. Drugs have been a constant theme in his life as he's struggled with drug addiction and drug abuse. He went to jail after being caught dealing drugs. So it's been a very core aspect of his life and something that has brought him as much success as it has turmoil.
Yeah, which he struggles with a lot in this album.
Yeah, and so like that's kind of, this is like, he basically was like, that's what this album's about, because he has so many, this is like, if you look through his discography, like Triple X kind of deals with the same themes where he's talking about drug use and partying. And then there's a lot of songs where he goes like, yeah, this is messed up. My life is difficult. I've struggled so much with this, with addiction, with domestic violence, with abuse as a child, growing up in poverty. But people only go, yeah, Danny Brown, you're the crazy party guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's kind of brought it on himself.
His upbringing is somewhat strange. Did you read about his mom? No, his grandma. So he was raised partly by his grandma. His grandma owns 4 houses on the same street, like side by side.
Yeah.
And that's where she like raised different people, including Danny Brown and like just some random neighbor kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But she owns like half of a block in Detroit. It's kind of interesting because she worked for Chrysler.
Yeah.
And then his parents lived on the opposite side of town and were poor. And like that's part of why he is the way he is.
And also because of his like being in between those two places is also what caused like gang turmoil, because he was like not recognizable on turf and stuff like that. So he would get questioned all the time trying to like go visit his grandma or his parents and stuff. He had a tough upbringing.
I also I checked out his Instagram page because people said it was funny, and a lot of the pictures on his Instagram page are just deer that showed up on his front lawn in Detroit.
One of the things I love about Danny Brown is I think he's one of the funniest rappers in the game. This is probably his least hilarious album, but he's just got so many great punchlines. And obviously they can be unhinged and rude. He has a song where he brags about having to pay income tax because his front is so successful alongside his drug dealing that he's got income tax swag. He talks about doing stuff like he makes music that makes the Pope want to get his dick sucked. He makes Sarah Palin want to deep throat till she hiccup. Like, just the craziest bars. He's a hilarious dude. He also has a podcast that's produced by Tom Segura, the comedian.
Oh, I like Tom Segura.
Yeah, so he's on like the Your Mom House network.
Yeah, Your Mom's House. Yeah,
yeah.
He does that with Tom Segura does that with his wife. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So, fun fact about this album: Danny is yet to recoup the cost of sample clearance for this album. He blew the budget and then put in his own money to buy more samples. And part of that is due to the encouragement of London producer Paul White, who produced 10 of the songs of the album's 15 tracks. 15? 15. 16 tracks? I don't know. Let me just check.
Fact check that for me.
15. Yeah. And it's, honestly, I will say, this album is like, I think 42 minutes long, 44 minutes
46.
long.
46.
Yeah, it's not very long. Boy, does it feel like there's a lot of music on this album.
Yeah, all the backing tracks are very different, which I do, or at least quite different, which I do appreciate. It feels really unique. If there was a song I wasn't really feeling, it didn't last super long and I moved on to something that was completely different. There were a couple songs where I was like, whoa, this sample or this backing track like rocks. And there were some that I was like, this is not for me, and now I have to just sit for 3 minutes. Because the subject matter is very similar throughout the entire thing, it lives or dies by the backing track for me in some of them.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them hit, so it wasn't really an issue.
There's some real spooky backing tracks, though, or like ones that feel very oppressive, like it feels like the walls are closing in on the song.
Yeah.
but also the lyrics get more frantic with the backing track. I'm okay with it. It fits the mood. I don't know if it's a mood I want to be in.
It is a dark album through and through. There is not a ton of bright spots on the album, but I think that's what makes it all the more enigmatic and interesting. Speaking of which, should we give it one more listen?
Let's go for it.
Let's scare the hose.
Tell me what I don't know. Hook Ray came through, kicking down the front door. Now we face a judge, got us sitting up in court. Gave us all probation, now we smoke Newports. Tell me what I don't know. Hook Ray. Ain't it funny how it happens?
I can sell honey to a bee, and a full-time matrix take back the lead. Octopus in a straight jacket, savage with bad habits, broke certain things, got rich became an getting blow. Let go the bellow, what we call self-control. Pop that not the route. I'm top, fresh out. Oh no, I fell a little tangle in my toe.
We immediately opened with forlorn guitars, scattered drums, and Danny Brown's signature high-pitched yawp.
This is the clunkiest beat I've ever heard. It's like, what is happening?
It's
My note says, Jesus, this beat is something.
yeah, it's so good, isn't it? Yeah, so as I said, this voice is something he discovered in 2010. I think his nasally voice is an acquired taste, and this is probably it at its most irritating.
Do you like it?
I love his voice.
Oh, so this is your Rain Maida.
What?
This is your Rain Maida. I love Our Lady Peace Singer's nasally voice.
Yeah, exactly. But I needed to get it ease into it. This is that's exactly it. And this is like him at his most annoying for sure. Like if you go on his earlier projects, it's not quite as high pitched. And
It's just constant.
Gotta
figure it out.
out,
Out. Gotta figure it out.
sweating like I'm in a rave.
You know what? I like how this note I'll say here and probably not mention it again, but I'm always a fan of songs that don't glamorize drug use, and this song definitely does not. From erectile dysfunction to straight up forgetting what made him successful, this does not make me want to do drugs. It's an interesting start to the album. It is an interesting start to the album. I don't know if it's the best start to the album.
Yeah,
Because it just like throws you in the deep end with this voice and weird beat.
but then you get the next track.
I was gonna say I think that I love the fact that it throws you in where it's like you just woke up from a bender, right? And there's like this kind of it sets the tone of the like depravity and like grossness that comes with like his hardcore drug use, and there's also like that sense of irony of like he's like in my bathrobe and pinky ring, which is like wow, it sounds like he's relaxing and living like a king, but that's like he's just like you're naked. Just covered
Let
in
it
sweat.
all hang out.
Yeah, you're an embarrassment. You need to get yourself together. Which is something he's probably heard maybe once or twice. So let's tell him something he doesn't know.
Oh, next track.
Yeah.
Tell me what I don't know. I love the more relaxed tone in this one. The shouting of the previous song works for the neurotic, paranoid lyrics, but this song's more straightforward beat suits his more straight-toned rapping. And though the rapping is much calmer, the lyrics describe a much more troubled upbringing, being raised around gangsters and drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this one.
Yeah, there's kind of a dichotomy with his voices. It's never like explicit, and it doesn't always apply, but a lot of people view it like his high-pitched voice is when he is literally high. And when he's using his low voice is like more of sobered moments. And so this song, I think, obviously is him recounting and telling stories about growing up in poverty with the drug game and hearing about people, his like friends dying and getting killed on the way to the liquor store. And I think this just shows that this is such a good storyteller, and he has such a grasp of like slang. The amount of like slang terms on this album and like words that I was like I didn't quite understood what they meant until I looked it up. Like, and the way he uses it to like manipulate and get these crazy kind of rhyme schemes in order, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, like chasing that cilantro.
Yeah. That's a great one that no one knows what that means.
The beat on this track starts off something, and then it becomes oppressive. around about a minute in.
I really like the synth. It's very spacey.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very Philip Glass. I enjoy it. And then the drums added in really add a lot.
It makes it feel like it's being beaten into your brain.
Yeah, I love the way he kind of locks in with those drums at the end of the verse, the like offbeat.
Yeah, he's like rapping along to that beat with the drums. It sounds really good.
And the second chorus, he's talking about being present after his home was being raided by the police. And in the final verse, he reflects on the cycle and about how the game pulls you back in, and it's tough to escape.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a sad song. Skipping school to deal drugs, going to court, getting shot,
Having a burner phone.
Yeah,
That was the worst part.
yeah.
Can't even have a phone number for very long.
Wet up a person like he forgot his poncho.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Well, after that's Rolling Stone.
Featuring Petite Noir.
Yes.
I like Petite Noir's voice.
Yeah.
It's a good match for Danny's high pitched rapping. I like the cadence of Danny's rapping paired with the simple backing track.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a cowbell. So bonus points for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the song talks about the isolation and impermanence that he feels living the rock star lifestyle. He's on the road and he's writing raps by himself, basically. And the conflict he feels from the isolation he finds necessary to create his art.
I like the hook. I think the hook is very good on this
Yeah.
track.
The hook feels like it could be in a gorilla song,
Yeah,
too. It's
sure.
very
Yeah,
interesting.
Sure.
Even the bass line, like the is a great little bass line.
The story of how this song came together is very interesting because like Petite Noir messaged him on Twitter, and then like he's like, I have an idea for a song, and at first he was just like, whatever, everyone's got an idea for a song, and then he sent another one, and he was like, okay, I like your idea for the song, here's what I've got.
Yeah.
And then they just kept going back and forth, and then that's how they ended up with a song.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Pretty interesting.
I like Daddy. He's like, I was up at 4 a.m. and I didn't know, I had nothing else to do, so I listened to the song and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Tell me I should be shooting my shot in DMs.
Absolutely, that's it.
Barbie
that's what
Ferreira,
I'm saying.
check your Instagram DMs. I know you're listening.
Of all people.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Barbie Ferreira. I'm a big fan.
All right.
SZA, you could check too. I've said a few.
I got some melodies for you.
It's just me going, ooh. Ooh.
I just want to highlight some great lyrics
Tell me more.
for the opening song. The opening lyrics of his verse, the feeling like I got money. No, I'm just, I can't say that word, rich. Even if she me, I still know life of.
Mm-hmm.
This is all getting cut because I don't want to beep it all.
You're
It's not
good.
even
Sorry,
that good of a
can we just say
line.
it's
All
so
it was
good.
was just
Riding around with the windows up, smoking like it's 10 of us, just me in the back seat with that driver bumping them Isleys. Another very great storytelling line.
Yes, I understand. He
He's
paints a
smoking,
picture.
smoking enough for so many people. Bought hope, can't get change. It's also a good line. Okay, I guess you guys don't agree that these are good lines?
I didn't grow up in the streets, I guess.
Yeah, damn.
I super didn't grow up on the streets.
Yeah, I mean, neither did I. I just really like the lyrics. I think they're pretty
the
good.
Rich boy talking about grown up poor. I get you.
Really, though?
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand it, but he makes me feel like I
Oh,
do.
okay. It makes you feel like a badass.
Really,
okay, I
though?
get you.
Really though, like really though.
Featuring Kendrick Lamar, Absol, and Earl sweatshirt.
Perhaps one of the best posse cuts
Yeah,
of
Sure.
the decade.
Kendrick Lamar
the
gets some good
decade.
use.
Of that decade,
Of
he's
that decade.
yeah.
Let me tell you, I'm going to name a lyric in this one. I want to join in.
Tell me more.
Sucking on it like she getting vitamins and minerals is absolutely devious.
Yeah.
Absolutely devious line.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely the most hype verse of the album so far. He's just doing rapid fire jokes, punchline after punchline, multiple entendres. That whole one, my piccolo smoking on that mistletoe. Like,
I like this track, but it reminds me that I do not enjoy Kendrick Lamar's weird voice.
I am also not a huge fan of Kendrick Lamar's voice. We were going to talk about that. We were Inside Baseball. We were going to do an episode on Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole, and I didn't want to choose Kendrick because I'm not a huge fan
His
of his
voice is off-putting.
well,
He's a great rapper,
Probably
though.
Drake.
You do J. Cole?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Pliff was gonna do.
Yeah,
I'll do Kendrick.
Maybe one day.
It's
I
over.
got to Pimp a Butterfly.
Like nobody cares.
Maybe
anymore.
one day.
To
Yeah,
Pimp a
the
Butterfly.
beef is over, man. Drake went to jail. You
We'll
didn't hear?
just do To Pimp a Butterfly at one point.
Drake had to move out of an entire state. He moved to Texas.
Wow. Really though?
Really do.
I like how Absol just raps about taking his mom's wedding ring to show and tell in the second grade. It's just so random.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, I did that. Now I'm married to the game. I'm like,
Yeah, he's like, I got
okay, good save. I like that.
I got game. I stole my mom's wedding ring. Got in trouble for it. And then it feels like his verse almost collapses in the middle part where he's like, now I am a writer with ambitions of a writer and all the shit on my rider I don't even want. You're like, what just happened there? It's
Said a
so
bunch of
wacky.
things.
It's such a funny turnaround. Apparently Absol was pissed off about this song
Tell me more.
because Absol thought that they were doing he was just doing a verse with
Mhm.
Danny on a track. He didn't realize there was a posse cut, and people were saying Absol was copying Danny's flow on the track. And Absol was like, "Well, I would have done something more different and unique if I knew that I was going to be on a posse track. I wouldn't have just tried to do a verse that complements Danny's style."
Mm.
And I was like, "Yeah, okay, good excuse." Absol, who I've always, what do you think about Absol? Have you listened to much of his music ever? I've never.
I'm tangentially aware of him. Like,
Yeah, it's like he's done part of Top Dog
yeah.
Entertainment, and
I know his brother, Dilla.
Boo.
De La Soul.
His
Get off this
three
podcast.
brothers.
Get off this podcast.
I like Kendrick's verse. It's pretty good. They all have really distinct voices, which I enjoy.
Yeah,
I think Earl's verse is only all right. I really like his tone on this beat as it fits the darker,
Yes.
twinkling, unsettling instrumental. That like kind of, it's just so, he's got such a deep voice.
Yeah.
But it's nothing really unique for Earl. Like Earl raps about getting sent away to his boarding school all the time. So it's like, yeah, I get it, man. But again, I really think it fits this well.
yeah. I think it's funny. Kendrick Lamar's like, okay, I'll come do a feature, but only if you let me do some wacky stuff on the bridge. He's like, life is like an half a truth or dare, and then he actually starts his verse. You're like, okay, Kendrick gets the hook and the bridge and a verse, and it's a good verse.
He's the most famous one.
Yeah, I will
So
say,
you get what you
yeah.
want.
That's
They
true.
used
that's true.
the most famous person correctly.
And also the hook was good.
Yeah.
The say I got that city on fire. I think Earl Sweatshirt's verse is absolutely notorious. That man sounds so mean and angry, which is like, I know his shtick.
And he's like, I'm not going to pass my joint to my mom.
Yeah.
He sounds scary. It's like,
he just,
wait a minute.
it's such a hateful verse. He just hates you. He's like, you're the mouse that the falcon picked up. You've been the same mother since 2001.
Yeah, it's like, I wish you would listen. I wish you would do this. I wish you would.
I broke up with my girl because we don't argue enough. He's like, I feel like I'm not mad. And also, why you got your couch on my chucks is just filthy. Lots of debates about who has the best verse, whether or not it's Kendrick, Danny, or Earl.
Earl mentions Kyle Lowry.
The left-handed
He
shooter.
helped
Kyle
the
Lowry
Toronto
got
Raptors
pumped.
get the freaking championship. So.
Yeah, that, and probably because he said, "Wow, Earl mentioned me," and he kept thinking about that in the playoffs.
Yes. 3 years later, he did it.
Yeah,
He was still
It
thinking
fueled
about it.
him.
I did think, I'm pretty sure it's 2019 that they won the ring.
It fueled them. They got life insurance, car insurance, good pussy insurance. Thanks, Kendrick. Kendrick said "good pussy" a lot in that era.
It's true.
He was really all about.
He was
this.
thinking about it.
He was even on the SZA album, and he mentions
Yeah.
that same thing.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's on like, I don't know what he was had.
He's got it on his mind.
He was insuring it. He was thinking about it a lot. He was very worried.
He went to State Farm and put out a claim on that.
Like a good neighbor.
Well, after that, we have Lost.
What a wonky beat.
It reminds me of
It's short.
L'Orange, which is another kind of fun hip-hop
Sure.
experimental group, and they have a lot of beats like this. I'm not as big of a fan of this one. The sample that plays is too loud. Like, the rapping is actually quieter, so it's really hard to focus on it.
On Spotify,
And the loop is repetitive.
on Spotify, it's not like that.
On Apple Music, it is definitely like
Interesting.
louder, which is too bad.
Adam Sondergaard, what is a Shalimar curl bag?
Oh, so I looked this up because I was wondering myself. It's so I don't know why I said bag, but Shalimar was a curl cream that it was used by like think about like friggin' like Ice Cube in the 80s.
Yeah, sure.
That's like how it was like a curl cream for like black hair. And I think the bag he's referring to is like you would put on like
Oh,
a hair net, not a hair net, but
like if you like a shower cap.
a shower cap kind of thing.
Yeah.
You'd have all the cream in there, and that's what you'd use.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, the guy's old. Danny Brown, he's making weird 80s references. I also love some of the most incredible opening lines for his verses of being like Kubrick with 2 bricks and hose on the strip. As well as being Spielberg with ill words and hose on the curb.
Yes, he mentions 2 different directors.
It's so smart. Such clever. And the way he says it.
And
And
it's
he can
short.
rap over anything. This man could rap over a laundry machine. Like, he could rap over...
Some of the beats do sound like that.
Like, it's insane how he can keep it locked in and rapping over a weird, janky beat like this. I also like when he says, jiggled and giggled her booty. It makes me laugh.
Ain't it funny?
He's the coolest coke dealer. Also, he brings back the robe and pinky ring, but here it sounds sick as heck.
Yes,
It's
I
a-
did note that he brought that back.
Yeah, it sounds like now I'm like, oh, the robe and pinky ring, that's pretty cool.
Ain't it funny?
Ain't it funny now?
This is chaotic.
Yeah.
It's definitely a fun listen, even though the chaos of all the sounds and instruments blaring loudly makes it pretty hard to follow.
It's a
The
circus
beat gives me anxiety.
circus nightmare type beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an incredible beat.
This is a blarf beat.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It's a blarf beat.
I wouldn't put this on by choice, but I did enjoy it listening, and I put it on while driving last night, I think it was. And I was like, this is kind of fun, but I also feel like a nuisance.
I stopped to watch the music video for this song because it's directed by Jonah Hill.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's like a sitcom, like an 80s sitcom, except he murders everyone in the 80s sitcom family.
Uh-huh.
And
Nice.
he's just like bathing in their
That's because
blood.
he's like afraid of the Zanny bar that's chasing him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's doing it because of the drugs.
He's doing it because of the drugs. Anyway, the song's about how Danny is in too deep to get out.
Yeah.
He's in too deep.
It's a rapid fire. I wrote, it's a rapid fire rap down a rabbit hole going from glorifying wealth and the game and drugs to seeing it destroy communities over the span of generations. Ain't it funny how it happens? Yeah, I like how Danny's supposed to be like the Uncle Danny. He's in the video.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be like a Kramer type character.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he's like, I need help. And everyone's like, ha 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 ha, that's so funny. And then he harms everybody around him because he
Yeah.
was not able to get the help he
This
needs.
is similar to that song on Wolf, that Nas, like the one that has not the clips of Nas on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where he's not glorifying selling drugs. He's talking about how it ruins everything
Yeah, exactly. It's like once you start, you literally can't stop because
No.
people are looking for it then.
because
and
you're
stuff like
in
that.
too deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. I think that another, this kind of, to me, I feel like lost through the song White Lines is, or kind of feels like a suite in my head, because I feel like he talks in this song about how he's getting high from his own supply, whereas in Lost he was bragging about being this like coke dealer who would not dip into his supply. He's like, I'm not gonna wait around, I'm gonna stir this coke, I'm gonna separate
Yeah.
it out, I ain't ever touching that supply. And now he's talking about how he's so rich that he can dip into his supply, he doesn't have to care, he's just
If you will, tracks 6 through 9 are all about the same subject. So like, yeah, you could group them together, right? Like,
yeah
they're all about cocaine, every last one of them. They're like different aspects of it.
Yeah, totally. And so I feel like this one follows as kind of like, this is the growth to being famous and and having the
Mhm.
problem. And then in verse 3, he's like acknowledging generational trauma and how it's resulted in a cycle where he's also fallen to it. But he was also part of the game that
Mhm.
causes that trauma to other people, being a drug dealer.
Yeah, he ruined other people's lives. Now his life is ruining himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to get a quick brag in there about how good you are at selling drugs. I can sell honey to a bee. In the fall time, make trees take back their leaves.
It's a good beat.
Yes.
Or sorry, a good
This is
metaphor.
a good bar. It's a good bar. Then we go from crazy loud noisy beat to crazy loud noisy beat in Gold Dust.
It's oppressive.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah, it's easier to follow though, which is nice. It does glorify his riches and drug use, but there's also a realization that he can't continue like this forever. He's blowing through money. I like this one more.
That's
That's
definitely a question mark.
And
on
the
that
like
one, yeah.
the like weird like whoop whoop sound effects in the side. The beat is so chaotic, and it also like how it's like it's so fast, but it feels like he's almost barely keeping up with the beat, and it's like the way the lines are edited is like he finishes one sentence just to immediately start the next sentence. Like there's no breathing room.
Yeah, it's perfect. It fits the story being told.
Yeah.
Right? It's too fast of a lifestyle. It can't keep going forever. Even when it's like he wakes up and is immediately drinking with a woman who's hot.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's sleeping with porn stars. And yeah, he is also just taking Molly right now. And now these girls are twerking for him. And now this is happening. And will it all last? And now he's doing cocaine. And will it all last? And it's like this realization that like he wakes up and it's immediately go. And he's taking more drugs and he's doing all this. And it's like, oh. And then the song kind of just ends. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And it goes into White Lines, which is another wacky ass beat.
And it addresses overdosing.
Yeah, trying not to overdose. And again, it's dark because he's realizing that things are getting dicey, yet he just keeps doing it. I really like the digital backing track. It's simple, but like really memorable. Like this is one I went to put on when I was in the car to like see what it sounded like and to get the head bobbing. Yeah. It's not a super long song, and I think that's to its benefit. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the Alchemist absolutely kills it on the beat. Mm-hmm. The like boom bap drums in the background get this head nod of an absolutely bizarre melody line. That like Danny also is like, yeah, I'm gonna rap to that for the whole song, which I think is a really cool choice to just be like, yeah, this is not just a hook. I'm not gonna listen to the boom bap. I'm gonna listen to the weird melody line and make that the center point. And it gives this really spacey, trippy, high feeling that I feel like it's like very much like at the end of the rave when you're exhausted but you're still high and you're like this floaty space where it's just like the end of the night.
I really like that. No way, no way, no way, no way. It's like, oh yeah,
no way will
just anything to match the weird beat. It's just like, oh,
I'm trying to eat all of your pussy. It's like the dude is just so weird. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool. He's realizing that he might be the one who's ODing in this track. And then to me that's where the suite ends. That's where I feel thematically.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We switch and then we get into Pneumonia.
Flow so sick. Call it Pneumonia.
Yeah, it's pretty fire. I like the contrast between the chorus and the verses. The chorus feels like an old school rap song before the verse is more traditional Danny Brown sound with the clanking drums and shouty bars.
Yeah.
This is the song that made me a bit more sold on the shouty vocals. Before this, I was starting to hope for another Tell Me What I Don't Know, but now I'm pretty on board with the shouty.
Yeah. I love the way the like polyrhythm on the drums at the start of the verse. The like is like so crazy and kind of out of left field for this kind of rap beat that you think you kind of understand with the chimes and the like normal beat to like just after the hook throw into that crazy drums in the verse.
It's like a construction site. It's just like random clanging. It's like, chime, and there's a clank, random stock bar hitting the floor.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this?
I like he's got some great lines on there. Licked the clit and she did the Macarena. This man loves eating pussy. I'll tell you that much. He speaks about it all the time. He has a whole song dedicated to it on Triple
He also
X.
liked Rick Owens.
Yeah,
Comes
Rick
up a lot. Rick Owens jackets
Owens.
and
yes,
he's a big fashion dude, and there's a lot of like brand drops that he mentions in here across this whole album.
I respect the hustle. Yeah. It's like send me stuff, Rick Owens.
I guess this isn't like the deepest track on the album, but it's just some cold rhymes over a cold beat. Jamie, do you have any thoughts on this song?
It's I liked it better than the previous 3 tracks.
That's your only thought.
No further thoughts. Yeah.
Well, maybe you'll like the next one because baby, it's party time and we're gonna dance in the water.
I like this one. Okay. So if one dances in the water without getting wet, means you could do something but not face any consequences.
Yeah,
and I like that.
I wasn't a fan of the song. It's pretty repetitive, and the backing track didn't do it for me.
Okay, that's what I liked about it.
And there's no bars that really stood out.
No, it's like a dance. He did like his 1-2 step or it's a dance instruction check. He's like, back it up now, bend over. Yeah, exactly. Slide to the left. But he's telling you how to twerk.
Yeah,
it's the only song on the album that isn't explicit.
Yes.
Boy howdy. I'm showing my grandkids.
I think it's a super fun. Yeah, listen to this, kids. Is it working? Is it working?
I like this song.
I think it's such a fun vibe.
Yeah,
I agree. It lacks really any lyrical substance,
that's fine.
but you're like, wee.
I didn't want to have to think about it too
It's
much.
a nice party track on a very dark album. So, dance in the water and not get wet, not get wet, wet.
And then we get into From the Ground featuring Kalela.
Kalela? I don't know.
I love her singing alongside
beautiful.
Danny's
Oh,
rapping.
yeah.
It's really.
I
nice.
am not sold on the snoring that goes on through
Yeah,
the whole song.
right. What's with the honk shoe?
I also don't find like the chorus adds all much to this. I was like, what is going on? It's too bad because it's the only other song with a more relaxed rap from Danny Brown.
Yes.
And it's not really one I want to listen to just because how much is going on that doesn't work together. Like the whole time she's just. And she's like, she's like, okay, sure.
I love how weird it is.
I like his normal voice. His normal voice is kind of nice. I would listen to a whole rap album in his
100%.
normal voice.
Listen here. You'd like his newer album where
Tell
he
me
uses
more.
of his normal voice.
Which one's Quaranta? Or...
Quaranta.
Yeah, okay.
See,
Yeah, you won't like Scarin the Hose. I don't think he uses his normal voice at all on Scarin the Hose.
Yeah, because his normal voice isn't scary.
It's not his hype. It's not his hype stuff. He doesn't do his hype stuff. Oh, unless it's his really old stuff. He does it. Then he does hype stuff. But like that's mixtape era Danny Brown.
tell me
Still
more.
good. Still good. Yeah, From the Ground. I think this is it's a low key. It's almost like just a break from the rest of this album, right? Where it's just calmer after like 5-6 songs of just chaos, brute forcing it through talking about drugs. The song reflects on his life, how far he's come, and of course, because it's Atrocity Exhibition, there's still a darkness to it. He also talks about the fear of losing all of his progress, one way or another. Yeah, it is wacky. Why are there drips, chimes, snoring? The snoring is just the weirdest part. Next song up is Today. Oh no, sorry,
When
my
It
gosh,
Rain.
When It Rain.
I bet this one would be a banger live. It's such a
Yes.
fun speed, and the trance-like beat adds a lot, so you can focus on him just hyping things up until the chorus comes in and tells you to get down because somebody's shooting up the place.
Yeah.
So the song also plays the balance with Danny Brown moving between the left and right speakers in the chorus, which worked really well for me, getting more into the music. And this is one where I was like, the song's over 3 minutes, but I wish it was longer. I had a lot of fun, and I don't feel like there's anything, though I don't feel like there's any one thing that stood out.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just
This
good
was
speed.
this was the lead single for this album, and I think it was a good choice because it's kind of got and it's accessible but also still very weird. Like you don't hear people rapping
It's got one of those
over
things.
this kind of beats.
The like thing you hit on your knee and it goes,
Yeah, I don't know what that is called, but it's got
that weird
the
like
rattlesnake thingy.
yeah.
And also like the build, like it's just kind of like there's like no beat under the first verse, and then when it comes in on the chorus, you're like, woo! The like bass with the boom,
Mhm.
boom, 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 boom. You ain't heard it like this before. They don't do it like this no more. This song just gets me hype every time. The energy, the weird ass, wonky ass beat. Telling somebody that the only way they hang is from a noose, which is just rude.
No baseball. Better run home.
Yeah. Time for the percolator, murder music orchestrator, point blank hollow tip circulator. Your ass lucky if you're on respirator. It's so good.
Yeah, it's good.
He's
stuff.
gonna kill me, and I want him to. I want to die. Thanks, Danny. Now we get to today.
Yeah.
You've been waiting for it, Adam.
Oh god, this one's so good. This is the one where he sounds vaguely like Andre 3000, possibly on drugs.
Yeah, probably.
And then he just interpolates most of Bombs Over Baghdad, or most of the good part of Bombs Over Baghdad, bagpipes from Bombs Over Bagpipes from Baghdad is an Eminem song. Bombs Over Baghdad.
Bongs
is a
over
song.
bongs over bagpipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the off-kilter backing track. It gives a sort of uneasy feeling as Danny raps pretty fast about living and dying in the hood. It's one of my favorite chorus so far, too. So fast, and the children's chorus that sings along adds a lot to it. It feels very dark while not being graphic, which I appreciate. It works really well.
Yeah, this beat, the energy is insane. Another crazy beat selection. Danny has such an ear for finding interesting beats to rap over, and
Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. It's like, how do you think to rap over that?
yeah, I know.
So-
And then I love it. So I love the like. He's like, oh, I'm flowing like Andre, so I'm gonna like toss in that interpolation of Bombs Over Baghdad. It's like,
I'm going to steal this verse.
well, he didn't steal it. He just said cure for cancer, cure for AIDS. makes somebody want to stay on tour for days.
Yes.
Which is an iconic line. And it's just cool that it shows that Danny is not, I think Danny has this outsider to him, but he's so immersed in the music culture that I think I really respect his love of music. He's very open about like his influences, and like he talks about like his albums of the year all the time and stuff. It's always kind of surprising. I think like the year this album came out, he said, I can't pick myself, so I have to pick like Julia Holter and Sufjan Stevens, or Carrie and Lowell, are like his 2 favorite albums. And I was like, you wouldn't expect that. You just wouldn't expect that from like a guy, from like a hip hop artist, to be talking about like these alt indie, like very small niche alt indie artists. I mean, Sufjan's kind of popular, but he really blew up because of Carrie and Lowell after years of kind of being smaller. You know, like it's just so surprising. And I think that Danny's obsession with culture. He also has lots of video game references that he uses like later on. He's a consumer of content just like me. And that's the only way I can relate to him. Outside of that, I can't really relate to him that much.
Smoke.
Yeah, drugs too, but not like him.
Are you smoking yet?
Get high.
I think it's cool that he got Be Real on this because his voice has gotten a lot of comparisons to Be Real.
Yes, I agree. Because Be Real when Be Real raps with Cypress Hill, he sounds very much like interesting. But they also rap about drugs a lot.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because it's a lot slower, but he's still shouting. I think it works, but it would have been interesting to hear this rapped in a lower tone. But I guess if you prescribe to him shouting as him under the influence, it makes sense he's doing it. I also like how it feels like a really positive song, but he's rapping about how smoking weed is really just causing his life to fall apart around him, with bills piling up and his landlord trying to kick him out. But he's just like, I'll just buy a little bit more weed.
Yeah, he's like,
it'll be fine.
Don't worry about it. Just smoke weed. Ignore your problem.
This is definitely my favorite backing track on the album. I would love just to listen to the backing track, except for the end where like things are really dark in his life and things start to deteriorate and become scary.
Yeah,
and it's like
pitches down and falls
which again
apart.
Makes sense with the whole like everything seems good because he's smoking weed, but it really is not. Especially because I think we talked about it in the Peach Pit episode. Weed is such a drug that everyone's like, oh, you can't be addicted. Like it can't really affect you.
Yeah,
but like, of course it can.
Yeah,
of course it can. If it is the only thing that you're using to cope with things, or if you're using it to such an excess every day, like he is in this song, at least the character is. It can 100% be an issue, no matter how reggae and peace and love it may seem.
Yeah, I like how even when, as I said earlier, even when there's a nice little bit of hope, there's always a tinge of darkness on this album. And I think Be Real sounds so funny on this album. When you had a bad day and want the pain to go away. It's like, they both sound so kooky.
You sound British? What is that?
What you at a bad day, you want the pain to go away?
I don't like anything you just said there.
What, you should do this Be Real.
I'm Be Real from Cypress Hill. You gonna have a little bit of that weed in it?
Well, it's followed up by the final track. Hell for it.
Yeah, this is
another fire backing track. I love this. It feels so Frutiger Arrow. This is what made me, I was telling the guys earlier, I went to bed watching old commercials because this just took me back to like the classic PC era for some reason. I was like, it's floaty little piano keys. It's so pretty. And then he's out there yelling about crazy stuff.
I mean, this is probably, I think it's cool how it's like the get high. We see the facade of smoking weed fall away. And then it's followed up with this song that is basically a declaration that he's going to improve. He's going to overcome the issues in his past. He's going to improve, rise above the drugs, the people who don't believe in him, the trauma, and prove that he is, as he's referred to himself in the past, the greatest rapper ever. He's got such like cool lyrics. He talks about how like says like, my task is to inspire your future with my past. I lived through this stuff so you don't have to go through it. Stepping stones in my life, hot coals, walk with me.
If he didn't make it sound so cool, like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Should have made it sound worse.
He should have made drugs sound so fun. But he's like, I think it's a cool statement that kind of encapsulates the theme of the album. And it proves as an incredible closer to a incredible album. Yeah.
I love that. Until it's heaven on earth, I'm gonna give him hell for it. Fire.
Yeah.
It's like the only positive track, and it ends with it, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There are some clunky lines in it, but it is a fun listen.
What? Say the line. What?
No, there's just some clunky lines.
What's the clunky line?
I didn't put a timestamp. I just have the lyric, but it doesn't make. I can't explain it. It's clunky if I don't know where it is.
What's the lyric?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just there's some clunky
I want to
stuff
know it.
where he's like really trying to fit stuff into lines, which I've talked about a couple times in different albums. Where it's just like you could probably just make that less wordy if you can't. Fit it in, if you can't fit it in, man.
Just say do a different take. I don't know. Say it differently. Yeah. Especially on this time. The fun fact about Triple X, his previous album, he only had enough budget that he could only record every song like once or twice. So almost all of
Oh, okay.
So there's like in this album that's not the case. This album he could have gone back. But on previous albums he was like, okay, I just have to get this right because I don't have time in the studio to do it again. Because he spends a lot on samples, as I said earlier. He's very dedicated to making sure that he can get the song that he wants. And I respect that. That's the album. Can I show you guys the packaging?
Tell me more.
Okay. This is the vinyl.
It's a scary.
It's a very scary cover. Yeah, so it has the scary cover where it looks like he's digitally glitched and his face is ripped half off.
It's like half muscle skull. It's weird.
Yeah, it's so trippy. I love the artwork for this album. It is very horrifying, and it's not even the scariest bit of art in here. So, as you'll see, I will unveil it. It is a clear sleeve with the title printed on the
Oh,
it's even
sleeve.
scarier outside the sleeve,
Yeah,
where there's no text to guard.
Yeah.
So in
This is a crazy package already.
yeah. So you got your two sleeves. It's split on. Sorry, I just hit my microphone.
Oh,
It is
terrible.
split over 2 records, though I don't think it is 45s. I think it's just a bunch of short halves, which is kind of disappointing because they had enough space to make 45s.
Yeah.
And it's on beautiful
Wow.
Pink vinyl.
translucent pink vinyl. I also like how you can flip around each of the different inner sleeves,
Oh,
so you
cool.
can get if you want a different cover.
I saw the other scary art, and I'm not.
Yeah,
looking
the
forward to
other
looking
scary
at
arts are
more.
very scary. You can also get this one of him getting his face ripped into the void.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Another delightful picture.
Ah.
And then it comes with a nice thick booklet with a very scared. It's so scary.
I don't know why.
What is
dude.
going on?
It's like there's like this guy's like I don't know, he's a scarecrow. I hate it. It's
Yeah,
I
it is
mean
very
I love
scary.
it, but it is terrifying.
Someone's like upper lip to nose is just ripped off. It's just like, oh.
It's yeah. The dotted eyes. What looks like I don't know. It looks like the skull of like a Nazi or something. There. It's truly. Plus all the distorted glitches and this like devil face up there
Yeah.
is spooky.
Listener, be glad we're not a video podcast yet,
Oh, God.
because it is scary.
On the inside, we got bugs. We got some brains on the
I
ground.
do like bugs.
We got ants. We got a brain on
Oh,
the
Oh, I
ground.
hate ants. That's my least favorite bug.
We got a flipped over car. The bust of a destroyed bust of a woman. I don't even know what's happening here.
Yeah.
Along that, we got liner notes, a wide version of the front.
Oh, yeah. There's the scary face
the
again.
alt cover, and we got some clowns.
Oh.
He's really hitting all the fears. Bugs.
Yeah, he's like
clowns,
everything's scary.
being maimed. There's like a dead woman on a pile of money.
Yeah, a dog's mouth that's like, "Arr." And then the bones.
Yeah, just MRI of like
It's-
a hand.
It's a very scary package
Why?
for an album that's very dark and very.
He's like,
scary.
I love cocaine, and then you open it up, it's like horrors beyond man-made comprehension.
This
It's
is
like,
what
huh?
drugs are like. This is what drugs are like. Yeah, this guy's doing his own Scared Straight program. He's like,
Yeah.
do not do drugs, kids.
If we got that in the mail, I'd send it back. I'd be like, no, thank you.
Funny story. This is my second copy of this album.
You sent the first one back?
The first one was ripped. The outer sleeve was ripped, and I was like, "Hey, can you just send me the outer sleeve? I don't really care. The rest of the record's in great condition." And they were like, "Oh, we just sent you another record." And I was like, "Thanks." In terms of overall quality and pressing quality, this stuff sounds great. It was produced by Warp Records, who tend to have very high quality pressings. Like you can trust Warp to do a good job there.
Yeah, they should have a different name, like
Yeah.
not warped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I want to buy a record from a company called Warped.
Yeah, but it's just warp actually.
So they will warp?
No, that's what they do. If you bring your records to them, they'll bend them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's a great pressing. Sounds awesome. Very, very little surface noise. Super happy with this purchase. How much did I pay for it? I don't remember. I bought it as a pre-order before the album came out.
I see.
I think it's probably 40 or 40 Canadian dollars.
That sounds about right.
And it's yeah, man, super happy with this package. I gave the other copy away to somebody who I hate now.
I'll get it back.
Yeah, no, I'll kill him.
Wow.
He truly is an atrocity.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, why don't you give us your final verdict?
I wanted to like this album. I wanted to get into it. I wanted to understand what Adam likes about this album, but I couldn't do it. It was too much, and it was scaring Jamie. And I found it was kind of a hard listen because some of the beats are very jarring. The lyrics are, I don't know if you should be getting into them because I don't think there's a good message in a lot of them, except for the last track where he talks about getting over all the problems that he had in the previous 14 or 15, 14, 14. And as such, I put this in our new number 9 spot below Wolf by Tyler, the Creator, which is also an album I didn't enjoy.
Let's go. I'm
What's
at the
that
bottom.
above? What's that above?
That's the bottom, isn't it?
No, that is the last one.
It's the bottom. Neener, I'm not the bottom anymore. Let's go.
Wow.
Yeah, so now it's I would call it a two-way tie with Tyler, the Creator's Wolf.
But we can't do two-way
We can't do
ties.
it two-way ties, so it gets below Tyler, the Creator's
It's
Wolf.
crazy that you put two great albums that low.
Honestly, I think that those are the bottom two. It's
I
like
just found them.
clearly this must be an amazing album
We've had a
year
gr-
for music for Jamie.
I
We've
just
had
have
a great season of Vinyl Verdict so far.
Yeah, I just have a hard time getting into either of those ones. I found them very hard listens, and sometimes it's like that though. So, like occasionally, like past host Nick Plouffe would bring on an album that was a dense listen, or like it was like a style of rap that I wasn't into, or what was that one rap where the guy rapped really fast and really was really wordy?
Oh man,
ASAP Rock.
Yeah.
He was just way too wordy and fast. Oh no. Gift of Gab. That was the one that was too
I was gonna
fast.
say
both
A$AP
of them rap very fast. Gift to Gab is a whole other level, though.
Yeah.
Gift of Gab's super fast. A$AP Rock is very
Verbose.
vocabulary, very
Yeah.
verbose.
Yeah.
He's like, he's gonna say the most whack word you've ever heard, and you're like, oh, okay.
It's like the Sigur Ross of
Well,
rap.
you know the perspicacity of that.
Indeed,
go on.
shallow and pedantic.
Mr. Bell, what do you think?
You know, the album is pretty good. At first, I wasn't sold on the shouty vocals, but they totally ended up growing on me since they pair nicely with the frenetic backing tracks. I do think just one more chiller track would have hit nicely, but it's not a huge deal. If the album flew by, and a few times I actually wanted songs to continue going on, which isn't something that happens often. I enjoyed the album well enough, but I think that maybe I'd like to listen to certain songs by him instead of a whole album. Or maybe there's another album by him that I'd like a lot more because I found the constant rapping about coke to be a bit boring at times. And because of that, I put Atrocity Exhibition by Donnie Brown in the 4th spot under Wolf by Tyler, the Creator, and above the Blue Album by Weezer. It's not bad, and I'd listen to more by him, but this one didn't really engage me in a super meaningful way. But I did like the idea of Danny Brown. I do like the idea, but the packaging is scary.
It's
Scary.
very scary.
But it also is very nice packaging.
yes.
It's nicely
So
scary.
It should be right where it is.
Interesting. Do you think because we're going to listen to like 50 some odd albums this year, we'll call it 55 albums or something like that. Where do you think it'll end up at the end of the year?
Probably,
Somewhere in the middle?
I'm not going to lie, everything below it is pretty low.
Whoa.
I feel like it'll probably end up being in the upper middle. But so far, I'm waiting for some breakthroughs.
I like this
I
album.
think this happened the last season as well, where like we kind of started off with ones I thought were really mid, and then we hit a stride of like banger albums.
Wait
once
till
we kinda
our
got on the
year
roll
in
of
the
things.
review where we re-rate all these albums again because we're like, oh, maybe I wasn't.
Make me eat my words when this ends up being the 4th one at the end of the year. But yeah, no, I think it'll end up in the upper middle. Like I did enjoy it. Like I said, driving around and listening to it, I did enjoy. I just don't really know when I'd put it on.
No.
because like it does kind of demand attention from you.
Yes.
What would
and
I-
not in a way that I enjoyed that.
Would I
much.
like to have a bad time right now?
Right. And sometimes yes.
Yeah.
But
Currently.
lots of the time no. So I'm not sure.
Like I liked it way more than the Beths, which is my absolute.
I'm on
worst.
Blue's side now where I think you're crazy.
What is
No, that
wrong
album
with the
sucks.
Beth's album?
No, it just sucks.
I thought it wasn't great. I definitely don't hate it as much as Jamie hates
Why?
it.
What's so bad about it?
It made me physically angry.
Why?
I don't know.
See, that's weird. If you can't name it, then I don't care.
It was just
It's such a.
We
They
also
make
did
such
cover
nice
it-
music.
We covered it like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
To be fair to Jamie,
yeah.
it was our third episode.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
don't remember exactly.
It just made me viscerally angry to listen to it at that time. Could I explain it to you now? No, but I just remember it made me
I'm
angry
so
that we had to listen to it.
Surprised when you guys were like, "This is awful."
It was
Like,
just really meh.
Yeah, it was
and
just-
it felt
just
dated.
average.
So it's
Yeah.
like dated and only okay.
And
I think so. My point.
It was
I look
so
at my notes.
aggressively
It's like
formulaic too, I believe.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like I would have loved this in 2011, but like it's not.
It does feel like the Beths feels like a mid 2000s indie band that just
I mean, I think the
woke
thing
up
that,
from a-
like I know we're rating a different album right now, but the thing that bothered me about it was that you could just pick out where they were going to put a guitar solo in, or like where there would be like something would happen. It's always like 2 minutes into the every song, which is so boring.
yeah. You can't
Anyway.
do that with blues standards, huh?
No, but I like blues standards.
Anywho,
It's different.
For my final verdict rating, Danny Brown's Atrocity Exhibition is an incredible, dark, twisted,
Go on.
experimental album that pushes the boundaries of what hip hop can be. It has brought me so much joy to listen to this album. I know it's such a dark album, but
That's a weird thing to say about this album. Yeah,
it brings. I love this album. It is to me. It's like
this album makes me
eye-opening.
hate myself. I love it.
I love the darkness. I love
Yeah.
dark, evil albums. I like dark stuff. And this album is profoundly dark, oppressively dark. And Danny Brown is such a talent. He's such an incredible rapper, an incredible storyteller, and that is why. And also the quality of the pressing is so good, which is why I'm placing it in my number one spot
Jesus.
above Carly Rae Jepsen's Emotion.
Number one.
I don't know if oh man, it's so. But your love of Carly Rae Jepsen is just so infectious.
I know. I love Carly Rae Jepsen so much. She's amazing.
It's so interesting though that you would say that this album is better than that album, like by virtue of it placing higher on the list.
Yeah, I think this album's better than Carly Rae's Emotion.
It's also a better package.
Yes,
And
okay,
the
okay.
album doesn't suck, but that's not what tips it over. This would be better digitally. This also I prefer this album to Carly Rae Jepsen's.
Sure.
I probably will listen to Carly's to Emotion.
There's more
a little bit
situations
more.
in my head where I would listen to Carly Rae Jepsen's album than
Yeah,
I
but
would
the
ever
amount of
listen
times I listen to an album does not equate to how much I like that album.
Interesting.
There's a lot of albums where I'm like, man, this is an incredible album, and it makes me feel so sad that I'm never going to listen to it.
Oh, fair enough.
Or there's like stuff like Swans, where Swans have produced some of my favorite albums, but those are aggressive, overly long,
Terrible albums. Yes, I agree.
pummeling listens, right?
Yeah.
And like that's the incredible part is the visceral impact that the music can have on me. But sometimes I don't want to experience that visceral impact, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like there's stuff that I can throw on whenever, like Vampire Weekend, that's very, very nice. It's very happy.
I could put on Abbey Road at any time of day, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like maybe I don't want to listen to like the White Album every day because of like I don't want to listen to
You don't
Revolution
listen to
9.
Rocky Raccoon. Oh, number
Actually,
9.
Rocky Raccoon's like a good song.
Number
on
9.
there.
Number
I
9.
was like Rocky Raccoon's on the top half of that
Yeah.
album for songs. But I just mean-
Rocky Raccoon.
Yeah, sometimes I think there's a lot of art that I want to listen to that is emotionally draining. That's
Yeah.
very visceral. That maybe I will only listen to a few
Like,
times a year.
I love listening to Pink Floyd. I think I only want to listen to Pink Floyd's Animals album every so often because that one's a harder listen than Wish You Were Here, which is the album I really like.
Totally.
We've covered before. I listened
Totally.
to that. The episode was really good.
And you know what's another album that's like that? Next week's episode, where we have a special guest, Sven from Linus Media Group, who is making us listen to. Did you know that there's a tunnel underneath Ocean Boulevard?
Oh yeah, but
know
what's
this.
the album that we're listening to?
It's called. Did you know there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard? Did you know that there's a tunnel underneath Ocean
You're
Boulevard
getting there. You're so
by
close.
Lana Del Rey?
Oh,
Tell me more.
I've never listened to her, so I can't. But next week we'll talk about it at length, and I think it's going to be one of those episodes where it might be a little heart wrenching.
Could be.
Here's aftercare question. Continuing this discussion, what's an album that you really like but you don't listen to often?
Woodkid.
Oh,
Wood
yeah.
Kid.
Yeah. I don't
by-
understand what the situation would be where you were like, damn, I really want to listen to Woodkid. I like that album.
Yeah, the artist is Woodkid. The album is why can't I remember?
It sounds like the soundtrack to a movie that you enjoyed once.
The Golden Age?
Yes,
Yeah.
The Golden Age by Woodkid's one of those. It's Baroque pop. It's punchy. It's like a movie soundtrack. It's amazing. You don't need to feel like a main character very often, and let alone one where the songs were in Assassin's Creed commercials to give you kind of an era of
They were in
that's aiming
Assassin's
for.
Creed. I've never heard of this.
Oh, it's amazing. Lots of drums. The music videos for it are amazing and have won awards.
It sounds
You don't need to
sounds
listen to
like
it
the
very often.
soundtrack to your favorite game, but you can't figure out which game it is.
Sounds
And
like,
also
sounds like
someone's
Super
gonna-
Mario Galaxy?
Yeah. Wow. That you like that particular Mario game?
I think that's
That's
not a
the-
hot
yeah,
take.
why
That's
don't
like
like
one
that
of the
game
most
at all.
popular
That game
Yeah.
of all time.
sucks.
That's-
That's worst.
I think you're the only
Yeah.
person who's ever said that
Ugh.
sentence.
Yeah.
Super Mario
Yeah.
sucks. That
Super
parti-
Mario
No,
sucks?
no,
Oh,
that
shit.
particular.
All
sorry.
of Mario sucks.
That
Super Mario
particular-
Galaxy
oh,
does not
awful.
suck.
It's terrible. Oh.
Dude,
That's crazy. He's being facetious. Anyways,
No.
Woodkid's definitely one of mine where I love it. I don't really want to listen to it super often. Not because it evokes anything in me, but because it's such a exact feeling. Do you guys have any?
Geez, that's a good question. I have a Neil Young album called "Through the Past Darkly," or sorry, is it "Journey Through the Past"? "Journey Through the Past." And that one it's the soundtrack to a movie that never got made, and it's really kind of hard to listen to because it like you could pick out what scenes it would be in a movie, but like as an album, it's really hard to put together. But it is a good album. It's just weird. And also the front of the album cover is just a bunch of Klansmen running across like a field.
I see.
And so that's kind of off-putting. I don't know what the movie was supposed to be about. Anyway,
I have two for this question.
tell me more.
Well, pick one.
No, I'm picking two. One is A Crow Looked at Me by Mount Erie.
Sounds like something I
Okay, do you want to let me just describe to you? Let me just read you the summary of the album.
Tell me more.
Released in 2017, it was composed in the aftermath of his 35-year-old wife Genevieve's diagnosis with pancreatic cancer in 2015 and her death in July of 2016. He wrote and recorded the songs over a 6-week period in the room where she died, mostly using her instruments. And it is
Okay, I don't think I could ever listen to that one.
it is heart-wrenching.
Yeah, I bet.
He talks about like ordering he received a package which was a backpack that she ordered for their daughter that she knew wouldn't come before she passed away. It's a beautiful heart-wrenching album that it really puts you through the ringer listening to it. And then the other one would be Lingua Ignota's Caligula, which is basically explores themes of like sexual abuse and misogyny and wanting to be like vengeful. Like there's a whole song about like murdering her sexual abuser and stuff like that. It's
a little much.
It's heavy. She's like sings opera, but also it's like noise and like shrieking. It's a very experimental and horrifying album. I saw her live and it was transcendent. It was such an incredible experience seeing her live.
Okay. But the album, it's hard to recommend.
The album is like, I could totally recommend it, but like you're going to have a bad time.
All right.
Both of these I can totally recommend and you'll have a bad time.
You know what?
Okay.
Sometimes you got to have a bad time.
How many albums in your collection would you say are ones that you would have difficulty recommending to another person? I know this is a secondary aftercare question. But that's okay.
Records that I own? I try not to buy too many albums that Shay won't let me play around the house.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah,
like that's
because like I live alone. If I don't like something, I just don't buy it. But like you have someone else to be offended by whatever.
Yeah, there's stuff that I'll like buy and I'm like, well, never gonna play that. Like that's just never gonna be spun because usually that's also like usually when I want to listen to more dramatic music, I'm not kind of like let's put it on the speakers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually like let's put on some headphones and really give it a close listen. Whereas like I'll put vinyl to clean the house on or when I have guests
Yeah,
over.
fair
I have
enough.
some that I bought that I won't open. Like I have Inside by Bo Burnham that's signed, and I've
Oh,
never
very
opened it 'cause
cool.
I don't want to open it.
Yeah.
My Wolf special edition that we talked about, I didn't open. You were like, let's see what's inside. I said no.
Yeah.
I have not put up for sale or anything. I just won't open it for whatever reason. And I feel like there's a few that I'm like, I just want to keep it. I want to keep it pristine for
Mhm.
one day when I want to. I'll open it then, but I probably never will. I don't feel like there's any I have that I don't put on for any other reason though. Because same thing, I live alone. I don't have a partner, so I'm just like, if I want to listen to music, I'm gonna listen to the music, right?
Yeah. Like I've got a good copy of George Harrison's All Things Must Pass.
Oh.
And then I've got like a bad copy that I put the bad copy on because I don't want to open the good one. Because the good one is like a signed special edition. I think it was like the 20th anniversary of it. And it's never been opened.
That's a wonderful album to spin.
It's a
too.
great album.
That's
Yeah.
so good.
But I won't open that one because I already know how it sounds. So I put on the Ratty Tatty one because I don't feel bad about putting that one on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I have he came up in this episode, The Alchemist. I have his album Sandwich,
oh yeah.
and it comes with a big paper bag, like a sandwich bag, and the record looks like a piece of roast beef, and the sleeve is a piece of lettuce, and then one other piece is like a tomato, so it all makes a sandwich. And for the same reason, I won't open it because I don't want to wreck it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, what a cool packaging!
Yeah, it's neat.
I gotta
And
keep
you
it
could talk to
pristine.
people about it, but you can't show it to them because you never get back the way it was. Yeah.
Exactly. I actually once took out the plastic bag or the paper bag out of the plastic sleeve, and it was so hard to get back in. I'm like, no.
No, never
It
again.
has to stay
Never again.
absolutely
we're
perfect.
leaving this alone now.
Well, hey, tune in next week for our episode with Sven listening to Lana Del Rey's Did You Know There's a Tunnel Underneath Ocean Boulevard? I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta respect an album that has such a long title.
I don't. Fall Out Boy isms. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.